How are you? All right?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Thank you
Amazing.
for joining us today. Looking forward to having a good chat, and obviously we've got the Women's World Cup and stuff on at the moment, and really looking forward to sort of sharing your experiences on the women's game, your pathway, and looking at sort of what advice and information you can share with those individuals watching.
Super. I'll try my best.
Really, okay. So, really, the first question for you, Wai, is what are you currently doing in the football world?
Yeah, so currently, well, my current role anyway is I deliver PE within schools, and I also run football as well for our company. So I'm the head of the girls development there. So yeah, that's work wise. Outside, I was recently with Moneyfields Women. So this season, yeah, things have moved on a little bit. So I'm in that land of I've just managed to secure myself a club placement. So I'm pretty pleased about that. So I'm in a Premiership. Well, I say Premiership, but it's an FA initiative. So with an academy. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Fantastic. Oh, very, very good. Lots of exciting things happening for you. Obviously, you've spent a lot of time sort of in and around Southampton, and I can remember obviously working alongside you in the foundation and seeing you develop and progress from there.
Yeah, that's right. That's a long time ago, wasn't it, Simon?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, obviously COVID has gone past,
Oh,
and we've come out the other end, and we're all fortunate to still be here and all good. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, what I want to try and do is just sort of take everyone a little bit back and just look at your journey a little bit in terms of where you've come from. And I know obviously for all of us as coaches, we've had different challenges on our journey, and just to sort of better understand from you, how did you get into coaching? What led you into coaching, and what sort of challenges did you have along the way?
yeah. So I went to university actually, and that was probably my big part of the coaching because beforehand I came into football quite late because I was one of those that when football for girls back then wasn't really a big thing. It wasn't allowed at my school. So yeah, it was fighting tooth and nail to try and get it at my school, and I ended up playing with all the boys in the park with friends, and then going into college. That's probably when I first actually started playing five-a-side and then my first 11-a-side team there. So that got my obviously sort of juices flowing with wanting to play football. Yes, of course, I played in the park with my brothers when you're younger, but it's different, isn't it? It is
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, and then obviously I went into university, and that's when I joined the team at university, and I got sort of my first chance to sort of coach the university team. I mean, I don't know why they trusted me, if I'm honest with you, because I've never done it before. But they must have seen something. So that was kind of my first taste of coaching.
That must have been quite a baptism of fire. Obviously, to go in with uni students is probably quite a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it opened my eyes a lot. I didn't know what to expect, if I'm honest with you. I kind of because it was every year there's a people they nominate people to take over the team. So obviously we did that, and I wasn't alone. I was working alongside another player as well. So there were two of us, and between us we got the team going, and we won like the league and etc. But I think having good support around you is really important.
Yeah, no, for sure. Being in that environment, first sort of coaching experience and stuff like that. I mean, uh, to obviously work with a player and supporting you, coaching, obviously someone that probably is already in there, knows some of the players, probably just gives you, both of you that sort of support network to start well and obviously have a positive season and to sort of learn as you're going along, I guess.
Yeah, what was funny was actually she was also a first year like me, so there was two of us, but
Oh,
we
okay.
had experiences from the different types of coaching that we've had, and she was Italian actually, so it was quite interesting to find out her style and then my style, and we sort of merged them together, and somehow it worked really well. So that was incredible. And the team we had, yes, we had a few experienced players, but we also had a lot of new players. And I think when you're all new, you kind of buy into that sort of philosophy of, right, whatever it is, it is. So we kind of, yeah, we made it work. So we were happy.
What was some of the, when you think back to your time with the uni team and stuff like that? Obviously, there must have been times where you come away going, oh, you learn so much being kind of thrown in with players at that age. Obviously, they must have been really close to your age as well. Or how did you find that sort of, you know,
I,
obviously as a
yeah,
coach, you generally have those sort of ideal rules that you're not too close to the ages of the players. But obviously, as we know now, coaches are getting younger and are involved in teams with players of a closer age to you. So, how did you find that experience?
um, actually, it was all right because I think where I went to university, probably a couple of years later than I, had imagined that I would go. I was, a couple of years older than most of the players, and the same as the other, the girl that was running it as well. She was a few years older, so I think we're a little bit more mature. I say mature, with that. So we were able to sort of, yeah, I think we had a really good bond with all the girls as well. When we brought them in, we had initiations and things like that, but it was just trying to bring the team together, and they respected that, I think. So where they've respected it, I think they show you then what they can and can't do, and you look at players, don't you? You talk to people, and then you just work around people, because obviously no one comes in as a player; they come in as a person. And I think it was really important that we looked at people that came in and how we best utilise the different people around us.
Yeah, I think that's actually really, really key. What you're saying, building those relationships and working on that side of it with players first, probably gives you and those players that trust between you. And I guess as all of us when we start coaching, you're going to make mistakes, same as the players and
Yeah,
everyone. Once you build up that rapport and that respect and those relationships with players, I guess it affords you a little bit more time and a little bit more compassion on both sides to all come together, work together to have success. So I guess that's probably quite a nice little take out of that. Is as we
yeah,
always say in coaching, is that those relationships and that respect that you build up with people probably goes such a long way.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And when you've got like a nice group, and then they trust you, that's a huge one.
Yeah, no, it's good. So then, after that sort of experience with the uni team, where did you sort of progress on from next?
Yeah, so I played for a local team as well in the area. So I stayed on from uni, and during my university time. So I played for a local team, grassroots, but I also was learning like the way that I guess a grassroots club was sort of run. I mean, it was quite interesting because we didn't have a lot of coaches that would be able to run things all the time. So sometimes we'd have to run things, and yeah, I think like I said, you learn on the job, don't you? You learn and you learn and you learn, and if you make a mistake, you learn from that. Simple as that. And if you don't make a mistake, you learn from that as well. So it goes both ways. And then moving on from that, obviously, I moved back down to Southampton, where I was then able to find some work with like the Saints Foundation. And at the time they had the Hampshire Centre of Excellence, so we had like a girls' centre, and I was working there as well, doing some coaching, and I picked up my sort of level like ones and twos, and obviously just wanted to really develop myself best I could, because coming from someone who's not started football since as a youngster, I came into it quite late on, knowing that there were girls that could start at or age 8, 9 years old. I mean, that was huge, and I was thinking, right, need to be able to give these girls the chance to be able to achieve something later on, something that I didn't have, shall I say, not couldn't, but didn't have.
Yeah,
Yeah, so from there I then sort of what else did I do after that? Quite a long time ago.
I mean, you
So
were
yeah,
you were at Southampton for about seven-ish years, no?
yeah, I was, yeah. Yeah, I was there
How
for a
was
long
your
time.
experiences at Saints? Seeing looking through your CV as well. I think one of the massive things that sort of strikes me when I look at this from your perspective is the sheer amount of CPD that you've
Mm.
undertaken for yourself. You're saying there maybe some of your experiences started a little bit later, but if you look at the qualifications and CPD that you've undertaken, you really were, and you've shown it all the way through here, so passionate and keen to upskill yourself, develop yourself. And I know being involved at Saints as well, the CPD that we would have internally, the
Mm.
top people that we worked with at Saints Foundation within Southampton. What were some of the big experiences you took from your time at Southampton?
Yeah, I think obviously being in a professional club, you're always going to take away the professionalism within that environment. Um, and it's I guess for me, I could take away so much because I did so much there in the foundation. I worked with so many different people, and we're talking about people. We're talking about youngsters, we're talking about adults, people with addictions, people sort of within the community. Different sort of cultures, and yeah, I worked with so many different people that it was a learning experience, a massive one, of how to talk to people, how to engage with different communities, different sets of people. And yeah, it was incredible. And then obviously going into the professional side, so the academy or the sort of RTC side of things with the girls set up, I was able to work alongside that and develop some of the girls into the setup as it is at the moment. And yeah, it's just so different and so vast. Like, you just have to look at what you're doing, and then sort of, I guess, adapt. You have to be so adaptable, put it that way, that you have to be able to adapt to each environment that you're in. Because I wouldn't go into a school and coach like this. I need to be really professional, because they just look at you like, what are you even talking about? And then if I go in the other side of things, they look at you going, I'm trying to learn here. So it's about balancing it all.
Yeah, I guess that's probably one of the things that I'd love just to know a little bit more, a little about when you're with the foundation. Obviously, as you're saying there, you're in so many different environments. Probably, I shoot every day,
Yeah.
every other day, every week. As you say there, I guess I think there was some work where you guys did with local prisons,
Yeah.
schools, and I guess as you're saying there, and obviously one of the big things about coaching is those relationships with people and being able to go into different environments, working with different individuals, and as you said before, building those relationships with people is one of the key skills to being a really, I guess, effective coach.
Yeah.
How you build those relationships with people is key, and I guess there are a lot of challenges in some of those environments that you went into. Just as an example, just if you can share just one or two, moments or experiences from your time that you probably took the most away from.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're going to always come across challenges in any job that you come across. Some of my challenges, were, you know, behaviors, I guess, because you can't, everyone is an individual, aren't they? They're all unique in their own way. Someone may react to something differently to someone else. So being able then to, I guess, stay in control of a situation and being able to engage and develop a relationship with someone, it is quite challenging if they're not really willing to do that. But it's like I said to you, it's trying to gain their trust, trying to find a connection with them that they can at least try. You can at least try to develop some sort of, it doesn't have to be we need to be best friends or anything like that, but it's, I need you to trust me a little bit here, because I'm here to look after you. I'm here to try and help you. So yeah, that's a really tough one, because like I said, I mean, what have I got in common with someone if I go into a prison or something like that? I can't relate to what they've done or whatever like that. So yeah, it is challenging, but I think you do the best that you can in those situations. And as a person, like I said, massively, adaptability is a huge part of my world, I guess.
Yeah, it's fascinating, to think that, you could do an inclusion session in the morning with someone that's obviously been convicted of whatever it is, and then to do an afternoon session with 5, 6, 7 year olds in a school, and then to do an evening session with different players. Obviously there you said about adaptability and the understanding of differentiation and how you, I guess, change your mentality and mindset from all of those different situations and environments you're in. I mean, how were the initial sort of months and year of that? And then I guess, when you obviously finished your time at Saints, reflecting on those experiences, how do you feel that has improved you and has broadened you as a coach
Yeah, I
and
mean,
as a person, I guess?
yeah, I mean, massively. It's. I think whether it's at Saints or somewhere else, your environment shapes you, your experiences shape you, and I learned so much from so many different people at Saints as well. There are world class coaches there that I've just watched in awe. Like, wow, that's incredible. I want to be like you, but I don't want to be like you. I just want to do stuff like you do because that is just looks so. You make it look like like you do it with ease. You're not even breaking a sweat, and I'll be like there going, God, how do you remember all this stuff? There's so much to remember. So yeah, I mean, it's really lovely going in those environments and learning so much. And I think, it's something that, I was able to do, and I was able to sort of work my way up into those sort of environments, which was great because, like I said to you, it does shape you as a person, as a coach. And it gives you those experiences that I wouldn't get from a grassroots club. I mean, I've been in so many grassroots clubs, don't get me wrong, but it's such a different thing. And I've been able to take that away out into the grassroots club. So, for instance, I was head of youth at, one of our local grassroots clubs here. And I've managed to take some of the structure of the academy side of things and be able to put it into grassroots. So actually, when the girls came to training, when they came to the club, this is what we offer. It's not just you come here, kick a ball around for fun. It's actually we're trying to offer you that experience almost, that bridge in between grassroots and I would call it elite, but the academy, so that they understand if you want to push yourself even more, this is what you'd have to do, and then you would have to do even more than this. So if they couldn't take what we were doing, then obviously for them, they'd have to think about, well, hang on, I can't step up another level. So I need to sort of, maybe I'm quite happy here, and then I need to push myself here first before I even think about that next step. So
Yeah,
yeah, we've just given them the best.
Yeah, I guess that what makes your experiences quite unique in that sense, and really broad. Obviously, you said you spent a lot of time with the RTC and the girls program, and obviously having those experiences and that work to pull from to support and push those those girls in the clubs in your new role and stuff like that. I guess, yeah, as you're saying, to go and watch a lot of those top practitioners work, and to take that and to push those girls in your club ultimately is, experiences that you've gained and that you're able to then share with those players, and to help them keep progressing, keep pushing. And that's, as you say there, it's sort of raising that level of a grassroots club because of and through the experiences you've gained with a professional RTC.
Absolutely. I mean, the club is thriving right now. The youth is, the youth side is, really increasing. They're building new teams each season, more youth teams. And when I when I took over, I think there were three teams because I started one. So yeah, and then obviously now I think there's like about seven. So that was only what, a year or 2 years ago. So for me, that for me, that's like, I'm so excited for that. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like many, but starting off with like not even a handful,
Yeah.
and then building that, and then keeping that consistency, and sort of, that leaving that philosophy behind, and for them to actually carry on with that has been a huge thing for that club, and they can only but get better. So I'm really excited for them. But yeah, definitely, I think that when you've got experiences that you can take away and you can take to your next club, that's a huge thing that, if they're open to it, they should be jumping on, because there's nothing like experience that you can take into somewhere. I mean, like if you go for any job interview, right, you go, what can they always go, what can you offer us? This is what I can offer
Yeah,
you. Exactly the
yeah,
same, isn't it, with coaching? This is what I can offer you. So
yeah.
yeah, massively.
And that's important, obviously, for you to work at that level and to put yourself in those situations to obviously better yourself, and obviously through all of the courses and qualifications and stuff that you've done,
Yeah.
clearly, you're an individual who really obviously passionate about learning, progressing, improving yourself, so that obviously the players that you work with get the best version of you that's possible. And I mean, I guess my next question for you is really, you look at how the girls' game and the women's game is developing at the moment. If we look back sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 years through that period of time to now, what would you say are some of the big changes or big advancements that the girls' and women's game has had, and where it's currently going?
Yeah. Like, as I said from before, when I started football, there wasn't, any opportunity for me to play, at school. So now things have changed massively. I go into different schools and there are girls' teams set up, or they're about to start a girls' team or a girls' sort of side, or they're mixed teams, but they're actually getting more girls playing football, which is fantastic. There's obviously a lot of money being pumped into it now, so there's a lot financially. There's, they're able to do more. There's like competitions I've seen. There's like new sort of initiatives. You've got the Wildcats initiative, haven't you? With
Yeah,
young girls starting to play football, and then obviously you've got not RTC so much anymore, is it? They're just turning into
they've
development
changed it.
centres, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there's so much more opportunity for every girl to get involved. So you couldn't turn around and say, well, you don't have an excuse to get involved. You know, you don't have an excuse. Let's be honest. If you want to do it, you can do it nowadays. Like I had to fight tooth and nail, and I still couldn't get it. But like I don't mind that, because I think that's kind of shaped me as I am, which is why I'm so passionate about wanting to build, like, you know
Yeah.
opportunities for girls, and just any player really, just giving them the opportunity to be the best that they can be. You don't have to be the best player ever. As long as I can help you go towards where you want to be, or get you to the best that you can be, then for me, I've done my job. I've gone part of that journey, of their football journey, whether it's with me the whole way, whether it's with me part way. That for me is like I'm proud of.
I mean, obviously, when we had the Euros a couple of years ago and we have the World Cup now, do you see, when you're coaching the girls, and you see in your pathway, in terms of participation and, you new girls coming in, do you see those moments, as in the Euros and the World Cup, really increase the numbers that come to play and come to train and come to try and get involved?
Yeah, of course. When obviously the Euros were on, there was a big, all the girls all of a sudden were like, "Oh, I can play football. I can do this. I can do that." And shot up, because I run like a football course during the holidays, and obviously during the holidays, numbers shot up, and it was fantastic. It was like, wow, this is amazing, because you know who would have thought you'd get this many girls onto a course? And then this summer, I think a lot of people are still watching the World Cup as well, and obviously people are going away, but I've seen courses left, right, and centre for girls, um, and it's gone. Wow. I see all this like footage and social media on it and things, and I'm thinking that's brilliant. That's what I'm so happy to see, so many girls out there playing football, and it's incredible. And there's residentials now for girls. Back then, when I was working at Saints Foundation, there wasn't even that. It was
Yeah,
just for boys, all the residentials. And if they were mixed, I didn't know. I didn't see any girls on there, because I never went on a residential with them. So, not being funny, it's like so like it's so good now. It's the opportunities you can have. It's
yeah,
just incredible.
yeah. No, for sure. And I sit here as well in Spain. The girls' game, the women's game here is massive. We're so fortunate as well to see the quality of teams in the current World Cup from all over the world, and the quality and the standard of their play is fantastic, and it's such a good advert for the women's game now, because obviously I think, when you take it back half a decade, 10 years ago, when you see teams and scorelines that were difficult to see, the eights, nines, tens, that obviously doesn't. Obviously, it's great that some of those countries are involved in on a world stage, but now the scores and the games are so competitive. You've seen some big nations getting knocked out against so-called, smaller nations.
Yeah.
It just shows globally, how much the game has grown. And as you're saying, the numbers, the opportunities for young girls now, you're saying there's no excuse for those girls not to be able to find a club or a team or somewhere that they can get involved in. And quite clearly, across the world, those opportunities are increasing for everybody. Obviously, we won't go too much into a lot of the political side of it. There's still a lot to improve. There's still a lot to develop. And I think the more people talk about it, the more people keep fighting for that, ultimately it will keep improving. I think, and hopefully at some point soon, those aspects of politics can just go and they can get in the bin, and it can all just be this, just equal, and then not being any divides between questions about, pay and opportunities. And, I think I had a conversation with someone else this morning, and we were talking about how the Jamaican team had to fundraise just to go and perform and to showcase what they're doing at the World Cup. And, those things shouldn't be needed. Those things shouldn't be needed.
Yeah.
That a nation and a country and a women's team have to crowdfund just to go and get to perform on a stage where they deserve to perform. They play well enough. They perform well enough. Everything's put together well enough for them to go and perform. And they're the things that I guess in women's football, people are still fighting to get that to be gone. And obviously, hopefully, with especially with this World Cup and the quality and the standard is being so good. Hopefully, we are getting closer to getting rid of some of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're lucky in this country, aren't we? The fact that you've got, you're having money pumped into football, the girls' football especially. I mean, that
Yeah,
even from where my family are from in Hong Kong, it's like we've got a little bit of money there, but we don't have quite so much the players right now because football's never been the sort of the priority over there. But things are
yeah,
starting to change a little bit. The generations are changing of how they're looking at the structure of it and everything. So, I think it's really exciting for a lot of Asian countries and Southeast Asian countries and, even African countries, just countries that are a bit underdeveloped with regards to football, coming forward and actually trying to now to push themselves and give themselves that chance to be recognised.
yeah. Yeah, well, you look at obviously what Nigeria have done. I mean, Nigeria obviously very, very unfortunate not to go through at the expense of England.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were talking before we come on about Japan, and obviously, you had Jamaica today, and countries are just so competitive, and that's only going to do wonders. Next question I have for you is obviously where you are currently at the moment. You're head of girls development at Elite Football. Talk to me about how that role come about a little bit, and talk to me about what you're currently doing there.
Yeah, so it's part of my job role. We've got an international company, UK ESG as well, and what it is, I've got a Train Like a Lioness course that we do over the summers and over the half term. So we try and encourage more girls to come along and really sort of enjoy football and get that little bit of an elite environment. So we just try to keep it nice, that sort of, like I said to you before, that little crossover where it's not too, this is an academy, because we're not an academy. It's just giving them that extra training and that little bit of more detail towards how they can improve as a player, improve, within, a team, more, tactical information, more technical stuff. So yeah, we offer opportunities like that. We've had tours that have come over from, India as well, who've come over and we've, sort of coached them. And I'm talking about boys and girls. So it's not just one gender or the other, which has been incredible because that crossover and, like I said to you about being able to offer football to anyone, is, really first and foremost the most important thing, because it's not just about, one gender or the other, or, you have to be professional to come aboard, to do that. So yeah, it's been really exciting for that side of things. And that's how, because of work, that's how that role came about, really. So yeah, really excited for, got new projects coming on, and yeah, can't wait to sort of get stuck in a bit more with it. So good.
No, it's good, and obviously, I think just another thing to work alongside that as well is you're currently delivering your UEFA C coach developer. Is that right?
Yeah, so yeah, I applied for the job last year, and yeah, I managed to. Yeah, I'm quite pleased, should I say, that I got the job as a coach, UEFA C coach developer, for the FA. So yeah, it's really lovely being able to try and help people on their journey, because obviously, you've got people on their football journey, in terms of, it could be coaching, it could be playing, it could be managing, it could be all of them, so it's great being able to share what I know to them, and giving them a way for them to go, right, I've seen what you said, I'm going to take that information, and actually I'm going to sort of use it the way that I want to use it, because that's how you've got to do it, isn't it? No one's, you can't be a robot copy of someone else. It's, you are you, and you take that information and you do what you need to do with that information to try and, get the result that you want, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that's really spot on. Obviously, we're the same with the players. I guess every player is individual. We have to try and work to their needs. How they need to learn, how we need to coach them, how we need to work with them, building those personal relationships with them. And as you say, it's the same from a coaching perspective. Every coach, and I guess obviously, you are working with coaches who are sort of really just starting their journey. So
Yeah.
obviously, the experience and the advice that you're able to give those people. I won't say young people, because people come into coaching at all different points of their
Yeah.
career, but maybe with a lot less experience. I guess those bits of advice you can give those coaches who are early on in their journey is massive. And as we know, as you said before, coaching at the start can sometimes be very daunting. Uh,
Yeah.
you're probably always worried about making mistakes, always worried about different practices, always different, worried about you probably. I mean, I guess I can remember when I was starting out as coaching, I would always put so much pressure on myself to have a perfect training session. And I guess looking back now, for me, is that was not naive, but just so unrealistic. Like you're in the early stages of your coaching career, and the same as what you ask the players to do. It's you want them to be happy and confident making mistakes. I guess some of the key parts of that is actually reflecting on those mistakes that you make and using those as learning tools. So yeah, keen to sort of know, when you work with those people that are coming onto the C license, what are some of the experiences that you've seen? What are some of the advice that you give those new coaches? Because I mean, one of the sort of questions that I want to sort of lead on to for you at some point is, when maybe young girls, young women, or even young boys, young men are looking to get into coaching. What are some of those key things that you would say to those individuals when they're starting their pathway and journey?
Yeah, I mean, I've mentored quite a few people, not just through the UEFA C. I mean, it's I've mentored people that have asked for the help. And I'm a bit of a sucker when when people ask for help. I say yes at every opportunity, but that's because I know when I first started, I really wanted the help. No one, like, there was not really anyone to ask, and or maybe I didn't ask the right questions. I don't know, but I felt like I didn't have the support. So if someone asks for the support, or I see them struggling, I'm a bit of a sucker, and I go on then, I'll help you. What do you need? Here's my number. Just give me a call whenever you need it, because everyone needs to start somewhere. Not everyone has that. It might be just a parent, right? Just going,
Yeah.
I don't know, my daughter wants to play, or my son wants to play football. I'm running the team, have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Please help, right? And then you've got some
Yeah.
are like, I've seen you guys do a little bit. I kind of get what I'm doing, but I'm still not 100% sure. And then you get someone like, yeah, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. So it's working with different people and working out how and what they need from you. So if it's obviously new, then looking at sort of supporting them, because it's like when you first go into coaching, you're like, I don't even know how to structure a session. I don't even know. And it's teaching them the right behaviors and saying that there's no right or wrong about coaching,
Yeah.
actually. I think it's more like it's actually just having some sort of organization so you can follow a structure that you've set yourself. And
Yeah.
because how many CPDs have we gone to where it's you do this, you do this, you do this, and at the end you do this, right? And then it's like, no, actually, next CPT you go to, no, actually, you do it like this, you do it like this, you do it like, and then they change it, and you're like, I'm so confused what I'm actually supposed to do
Yeah.
because there isn't a right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
So every
Mm.
place is different with how they do things, and I think with every coach, they're very different with how they do things. So it's for you, just learn what works for you. I think that's a really important thing to take away. Like, learn from other people, because even now I'm still learning. I'm still learning from other people. I know I'm not going to be the finished article ever. And I think if you think you're ever the finished article, you'll never be the
100%.
finished article.
100%. Yeah, I don't think there is a finished article. I mean,
No, absolutely
I'm
not.
sure. I'm sure if you spoke to some of the top coaches in the game, I'm sure if you spoke to Emma Hayes, you spoke to Pep Guardiola, whoever it is, I would be astounded if they ever turned around and said, "I'm finished. I'm perfect. Like, there's nothing else I need to learn." Whenever you talk about education, teaching, coaching, the main word that I'll always look at, or the main phrase will be, growth mindset. You look
Yeah.
at all the research and all the evidence and how people that have that growth mindset are and where they go in their journey. And it's so key. And we've all come across coaches. And I know, I've had many conversations with people this week about, people always coming across someone goes, do you know what? I don't need your advice. I'm perfect. My session was perfect. I don't need to do any courses. What are courses? Or I don't need to do any CPD. Everything's perfect. And it's just trying to make sure that people understand that, as you're saying, which I really, really love. Everyone is different, and understanding that when you go onto these courses, okay, I know I've seen, you've done your Curva coaching courses. Loads of people
Yeah.
have done those. You've got your FA badges, your youth awards. Coaching courses develop over time, and the messages are different. You can go to one. You can do a cricket course, you can do a rugby course, football course, and all the methodologies are a little bit different. And as you say, I really like it. Is you as an individual and as a coach have to sort of explore those different methodologies, those different ways of coaching, teaching, educating, and taking that on board for yourself to try and be the best version of you, and
Mm-hmm.
probably reflecting and understanding, okay, why are those types of practices, or why do I like those? Why don't I like those? What are the benefits of those with my players? And I really like what you said there, because I just agree wholeheartedly with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to take the best the best stuff, right, and then put it into your own sort of learning, and then you will develop the best version of yourself by taking the best bits out of there. So yeah, massively. I mean, I think everyone, their path might not be a player. It might start off as a player, and then you might end up as a coach, you might end up as a manager, you might end up as a referee, as a referee's assistant, actually as an analyst. Oh, actually, I'm going into physio. So there's so many different pathways that you could take. It doesn't mean because you can't play anymore, because you can't coach or you're not a manager, it doesn't mean that you can't take a different pathway within football or within any
Yeah,
sport. And yeah, so important, I think, for you is to find what you want, like what you like to do, I guess, what you really
yeah,
enjoy doing, and then find yourself some sort of way to get involved in that way. And, it might just be actually, I don't want to fully coach, but I want to assist. I'm quite happy to assist other people. And do you know what? This grassroots football, they need volunteers all the time. You
yeah.
know,
I mean, that
that's
is,
where football starts,
grassroots.
right?
100%, 100%. Grassroots football is everything. The elite pathways, however you want to classify that. The pyramid. Those things don't happen unless
Yeah.
the foundations are done. And obviously, we know how crucial grassroots football is, and all of the people, because there's so many, like you said before, all of the parents, all of the people, and all of them are volunteering, giving up their time uh, to make sure that there is something available for young individuals, young players to be a part of. And I think sometimes, you hear all these unfortunate horror stories in grassroots football where,
Yeah.
parents are getting shouted at, volunteers are getting shouted at. And I think, unfortunately, it's something that is very difficult to try to eradicate. But, I think people just need to have that understanding that, so many people on the touchline, are involved in grassroots, are voluntary, and not any fault of their own. A lot of people don't have the time to give up to do courses. Some of the courses are really expensive. It's
Mm.
tough to find time, especially when you've got a family, to improve yourself. Obviously, social media now is such a great free way of taking in CPD for free and to try and improve you. Getting in touch with people like yourself, going to try and watch sessions, contacting clubs and getting involved that way. And as you say, there, trying to just volunteer a little bit and try to upskill yourself with people who have got a bit more experience or a little bit further down their pathway. And, there's no, it's great, the type of personality that you have, the experiences you have, to know that you are working with those people who are just starting their coaching pathway, to have someone of your sort of mentality and your personality that supports people in that pathway will help support them have a lifelong love for whatever aspect of football that they go into.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think you have to have that support in it, don't you? Because, the only way that you can love something is having that support, and it's really important. So, I started off as a volunteer grassroots, and I still am, and I have, my hat's off to every single volunteer out there, because obviously, I mean, Simon, that, I recently won an award for, volunteering,
I was gonna
my
come on to that one
services.
because
Yeah.
that's a special thing to get.
And
Talk to us a little bit about that.
well, surprisingly, actually, it was a huge surprise. I sort of got an email out of the blue saying that, you'd won an award, and I thought, what's this about? And I thought, this is no, they're winding me up, aren't they? No, this is not real. Because I don't know, I doubted it, and I did actually do a Google search to make sure. I was like, is this real or not? But yeah, I won Grassroots Coach of the Year for the youth in 2022. So that was so humbling. It just took my breath away, if I'm honest with you. Even now, I kind of pinch myself sometimes, going, did I actually win that award? No, that can't be real, And it is actually so nice to be able to be recognised for putting in all the work that I did for, the clubs that I've worked with. So, you're recognised by parents, you're recognised by people out there. How many people did I have to beat to get that award? So knowing all that, I'm just like, even now going, like that. So yeah, that was incredible. And other people on the night as well, they'd won their awards for, being groundsman of the year, or, being referee of the year. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's amazing. We're all here to celebrate the fact that we've done something, we've been recognised for it. So every year, I always look out for these awards going, oh, who's won it this year? Because I'm thinking, oh, it's really exciting, because, it's not a recognised thing, is it? Like,
Yeah.
as such, not everyone's that interested in it, because they're like, well, it's grassroots stuff. It's not the real stuff, but it is actually,
No.
because
Yeah.
start somewhere,
Yeah. No.
but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah. And grassroots, you know, doesn't probably get the credit it deserves. People are giving up so much time, so many hours
Mm.
for sometimes obviously a lot of abuse and not a lot of gratitude. So to come out of a year as you've done to get that award and to get recognised for all of the time, effort, energy that you've given up is obviously must have been massively satisfying, and is a huge credit to yourself for all of the hours that you've given up and all of the support that you've given
Mm.
parents, players, all the stakeholders within your pathway within grassroots, and clearly you had a, a massive effect on a lot of people, because to get those sorts of awards, you need to be nominated, you need to be recommended by lots of people. So, you must have been,
Definitely.
put forward by a lot of people through your journey to come out of an award like that, and to see you get that award, to know you're working with, the future coaches that are going to then impact and work with the next generation of players. And we know obviously how important grassroots is such a nice story, and is such a nice thing to know that those things are being recognised and are in place to support those people coming up and coming through.
Yeah, I think I think it was over the last few years, when obviously when I was heading the youth department, and I was coaching two teams, I was managing both teams at the same time, and then we were putting CPDs on for coaches. I was mentoring coaches there, put a pathway in for the girls, and I think and I was even sat on the committee, so it's like, I think when you put so much time and effort into something, to be recognised for that, I mean, I'm not the only one who does that. There's other people out there
No,
who
yeah,
do the same and maybe even more. And just to be recognised, I think, is a huge, huge, like, humbling experience. And for me, I mean, I want to thank everyone who even voted for me, because I don't even know you don't find out who they are either.
no,
So,
no.
you know,
That's
I
so
could have
frustrating.
had five, I could have had 20, I don't know, but it was just such an amazing sort of award to win for me. I hands down, I'm so humbled by it, and it's just incredible. So yeah, that was great. And like we were talking about, I think it's undervalued being a grassroots coach. So undervalued,
Yeah,
because there's people that have this as a full-time job. They did what I did, but they do it as a full-time job and get paid. And there's obviously people out there who do this volunteer, and what do they get back from it? Probably snappy parents. I mean, how many times have you had to have conversations like that? And as a
yeah,
coach, anyway, yourself, as you have conversations with parents sometimes that are uncomfortable. But everyone thinks that their child is the best player ever, obviously, and there's nothing
yeah.
better out there. So, sometimes it's just, actually, let's be realistic about this.
Yeah, and I
But
think that's the unique thing. I think that's the unique thing that you've got, in the roles that you're doing now, to come from where you've come from, your journey, your experiences, and you're able to impart that on the next generation of coaches. You're able to
yeah,
give that information. You're able to share real life experiences that you've had, and support and prepare those coaches for exactly what it's going to be like. And that, as a young coach, can't be underestimated, because it is tough. It is really tough when you're a new coach into the game, and you don't quite know what good looks like, and you don't know what challenges you're going to face in terms of parents and sessions. And grassroots is such a challenging environment, because even if you're the coach, you're also probably going to do, be the manager, and you're probably also looking after the kit, and you're looking after player registrations, and as you say there, you're on the committee, and it's not just you just do one sort of mini role in grassroots. You kind of across the whole thing.
yeah, you don't realise you go in for one thing and then they pull you in and sucker you in, and then that's it. You've taken over, like, doing this, that, and the other, and you're like, how did this happen then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
but to be honest, like I said, I would never take back any of that experience, because it shaped me as I am, and
Yeah.
it's given me a massive, like, I guess, sort of experience to be where I am right now, and knowing, you know, where what steps I need to take forward now. So, it's been brilliant. So can't complain, really.
Yeah, and why? Just to sort of just wrap up and finish. I just really wanted to sort of just get a couple of points from yourself, for maybe for coaches, people who are not coaching at the moment. Maybe they've seen the Women's World Cup, or they just love football, and they've always got that sort of niggling thing in the back of the head that they want to get into coaching, but they don't know how. What advice would you have for those individuals that are sort of on the edge, wanting to get into coaching but not sure?
Yeah, so I think, for those that want to get involved in coaching, or are like, I don't really know what this entails, actually book yourself onto, like, a course. The FA, go to, obviously, the FA sites, and you can start with like the introductory sort of level to football, and then obviously going into your playmaker awards. So it's just looking at just upskilling yourself, because you need to build the confidence, I guess. You need to build your knowledge. And to do that, you need to learn. And the simplest way to do that is go on, on the FA sites, and then sort of navigate stuff like that. And then you will meet people on the way, and they'll give you ideas about, oh, actually, you could do this or you could do that. And then it sort of opens doors a little bit. And, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. At the end of the day, you are working with people, and something that you probably really enjoy. Football, most people love football. Not everyone, I get that. But weirdos, but no, just kidding.
Yeah.
But and then obviously it's just upskilling yourself and learning, and be open to learning, be open
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
people, but you've also got to have a bit of a thick skin about you as well, I think.
Yeah.
I don't, people are not going to sit there and slate you, don't get me wrong. I mean, it depends where you are, what level you are, but no, seriously. But like, there's going to be times where you won't be happy with what you've done, or you'll doubt yourself, and you think everyone else is doubting you, but actually people can be there to support you, and they will. But you've got to just sort of just let yourself be open to people helping you as well.
Yeah.
And then from there, just build up that sort of upskill. And there's people you can reach out to all the time. I mean, I know I said I'm a bit of a sucker for it, but please don't have like 5,000 people reaching out to me now. I'll be like, but yeah, so yeah, it's getting that support. And I think, I've met a lot of female coaches as well that always, they want the support, and I think that they should have the support. So that's really important, to get the support there. And that might just be people that as well. You might have coaches that you can go, well, let me volunteer in this. I just come in as an assistant. And you might just come in to do a little bit of cone picking or whatever, but actually you're in that environment, you're learning how they do things, the structure of things, and you can write notes galore, just literally, write things down so you remember things. No one can remember everything. So it's just writing little notes for yourself and then taking what you can from that. So when you do anything, and you might go, actually, I don't want to be a coach, I want to be a referee. But actually learning the game first is really important. So learning how, what behaviours are like on match days and things like that. So just getting involved however you can. And then, like I said, first thing, just start upskilling yourself, little courses here and there, just to look at different ways to sort of, look at the game, because it's not just black and white. This is football and this is the game. It's learning how to manage behaviours, etc., etc. So that for me is, really important, that you need to start somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think getting yourself on those courses, you meet people in the same situation as you, same part of their journey as you, and a lot of my really good friends I met on courses that I did years and years ago, and you keep doing that. You always meet like-minded people on those courses. People that obviously love the game, want to try to improve, want to learn. So yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, and just having that willingness to learn, get involved, going to volunteer is really where everyone starts. It's really difficult. When we talk about almost all of the coaches in the world, obviously there's always the 1% and 2% that come from different pathways, but when you look at so many people, the highest percentage of people have all come through grassroots coaching and volunteering at some stage in their journey and pathway. So, I think sometimes, people have the wrong view and impression of volunteering, but ultimately, I know why as well. So many people, that is where you start. So yeah, completely agree with you on that one. And I know we're sort of at the end, and I just obviously want to say, thank you massively for your time, for your expertise, your wisdom, your experience, and some of the advice that you've given to people out there. And I would like, when I put this out, if people have got questions, they can put it in the comments to the video. They can send it on to me. And if you're happy, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, I'll set a limit of 5. I'll set a limit of 5,000. So the first 5,000 people, after that is full.
Yeah,
Um,
5001. Sorry, you're right. No,
um,
thank you for having me on. Actually, I've really enjoyed it. Actually, to be fair, so thank you.
no, it's been good. It's always good to talk about football, talk about the game, talk about development, and you know, your pathway, you know, to get recognised, you know, for you. I mean, it's just absolute credit to the journey that you've been on, and you know the amount of hours and hours that you've given up to support so many people. You know, is fantastic recognition. So you know, for all of those people that nominated you, that you don't know who they are, I'm sure they'll watch this and go, "Do you know what? I voted for her, and I'm really pleased that she won it." Because you know, you look at the progress you've made, you look at what we're doing now, and the impact you're having on so many people. That you know, without a doubt, has supported and shown you that although they can't tell you, or although you don't know who they are, there's a lot of people that really were grateful for all of the time and effort and expertise that you shared with so many people.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I mean, we could have been sat here for hours talking about stuff that you've done or whatever, isn't it? But it's like sometimes it's just that little bit. Actually, this is what is important, and I think in
Yeah.
grassroots football, this is the most important thing. So no, it's been brilliant. So yes, long may my journey continue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just one final question. This will probably go out after the World Cup final, so it's going to be interesting. So, who do you think is going to win?
Okay, obviously, everyone's answer is we all want England to win, and that was nerve wracking watching that penalty shootout, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
my heart was going. Um, but no, talking about all the countries that have done, they've done really well, but consistently, we've talked about this. Japan, they've been absolutely consistent, and they are a great team anyway. Technically, so good. Even the men's team, they're
Yeah.
so good technically. But that's the type of things they work on. A lot of technical stuff out there, and obviously they able then to put that into the tactical side. And they've started growing as a football nation, and they've been superb. So if England don't win, I'm gonna predict Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've got some other countries that are quite physical, quite a lot of big presence, but they haven't technically. I don't think they're as technically good as
Yeah.
Japan, and obviously England, they've kind of been inconsistent. So
Yeah.
we'll sort of see how they get on in the next game, and then
Yeah.
after, let's hope we get the predictions right. It'll be a Japan and England final, right?
Yeah,
Who do I want to
no,
win? I don't know.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I said the same to someone earlier. Obviously, you know, we always want England to win, and I think the biggest test for me coming up this weekend will be Sweden versus Japan. I
Yeah,
think if Japan beats Sweden, I think Japan will go all the way. But it'll be interesting. You know, you look at the two styles, how the two teams are set up. Yeah, I think Japan versus Sweden would is going to be a very fascinating game to watch.
but if Sweden play like they did in their last game, though, Japan are all over them. Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but you never know. Football is football. Who would have thought that the big ones would be out? So,
yeah, yeah. That's the joy of the sport that we work in, though. It's so
yeah,
unpredictable sometimes, and you know the consistency, and that's why I think I'll agree with you on Japan is so far up to this point. The consistency that Japan have showed has been really really interesting to watch. So we'll see when this gets
fingers crossed,
released. We'll see
England.
if we
Yeah,
were
fingers
Christ.
crossed. No,
Well,
they'll do
Roy,
it. Right, we
honestly,
believe.
thank you so much for giving up your time this evening. It's been great having you on. Again, congratulations for the Grassroots Award.
Thank you.
Thank you for imparting your experience and knowledge onto us. And obviously, I wish you all the best for the coming season. Wish you all the best for the future. Keep working with those young coaches and experienced coaches, and keep developing our game on
And
a
any
grassroots.
coach.
And absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
Well,
Thank you.
Why, thank you very much. Great talking to you, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Yeah, take it easy. Thanks.
Thank you.